Look at your life right now and ask yourself a simple question. What would actually improve it if you started today? Chances are you aren't struggling to come up with an answer. Deep down, you already have a pretty clear idea of what needs to happen next. It might be more sleep, opening a textbook to study, or simply eating better food. But instead of doing those things, you wait. You put them off for an easier option, something that doesn't create any immediate friction. The mystery isn't figuring out what to do. The reality is that you are actively avoiding the very things you know will help you. Think about the last time you picked up your phone to check a single message. Somehow, 40 minutes disappear. You don't remember what you watched, just a vague feeling that time slipped right through your hands. You are constantly feeding your brain an information diet. If you scroll through bad news, drama, and arguments all day, your mind expects stress. You wouldn't eat junk food from morning until night and expect your body to feel amazing, yet we feed that exact equivalent to our minds. Look at this chart comparing a standard 40-hour work week to our average weekly screen time. Logging 6 hours a day is nearly the equivalent of a full-time job, except there is no paycheck, no progress, and no real memories. And as you can see with the screen time bar compressing your potential down to zero, this isn't an accident. Psychologists are paid to research exactly how to keep you stuck on that small rectangle, using perfectly timed notifications to fight for your attention. We end up trading our mental health and our actual time for a highly engineered digital trap that perfectly feeds our desire to avoid doing real work. The first psychological trap that keeps us paralyzed is the assumption that satisfaction is tied to a specific milestone. We tell ourselves that once we date a certain amount of money or land a specific job, we will finally feel complete. This chart maps out a concept known as the hedonic treadmill. The hedonic treadmill is a psychological mechanism where human beings rapidly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative life changes. We feel a desire, acquire the target, experience a temporary spike in mood, and then drop right back to our baseline. Notice how the baseline shifts upward with each cycle. The initial thrill of holding that no achievement inevitably fades. Without you even noticing, that feeling becomes entirely normal, and the spike gets smaller and flatter. Think about the day you finally saved up to replace a crappy laptop with a brand new gaming PC. It felt like you had the world in your hands. But when was the last time you played a game on it? Waiting for a final destination of satisfaction is a biological loop. It keeps us endlessly chasing the next temporary spike instead of living in the present. There's another invisible rule keeping us paralyzed: the belief that once you make a decision or go down a wrong path, you are locked into it. Starting over is uncomfortable. It feels like you are losing the time and skills you already spent, creating a massive sunk cost that discourages you from trying a new direction. But the way you talk to yourself dictates how you experience life. Look at this breakdown. One mindset sees an outcome as a dead-end failure, while the other sees rejection as redirection. Your brain leverages that fear of failure to negotiate with you. It comes up with every excuse in the book to delay the work until later, making the cognitive barrier to starting feel impossibly heavy. The only thing keeping you stuck on the wrong path is your own internal narrative. If you frame things as losses, your life becomes a losing streak. If you view them as feedback, the entire loop becomes useful. Which brings us to an incredibly liberating realization. The actual work you are avoiding is rarely as bad as the expectation you build up in your head. This graph illustrates the reality of taking action. Notice how the perceived effort spikes massively right before you begin, whether you're opening a laptop to write an assignment or just cleaning your room. The absolute hardest part is getting over that initial vertical threshold. Once you cross that line and begin, the effort collapses into a flat, manageable line. Simply starting the task is effectively half the battle won against your own mind. To break the paralysis of avoidance, you have to master the manual override. You have to force yourself to take the very first, smallest step, regardless of how heavy it feels in the moment. There is no universal script for what a successful life looks like. Some people naturally chase stardust. Others chase freedom, and some just want peace. A person could have a high-paying job with constant achievements and still feel entirely empty. Meanwhile, another person could live a simple life, maintain a steady routine, walk their dog every morning, and feel completely fulfilled. The difference lies entirely in personal values. not trends, not algorithmic apps, and certainly not the expectations of other people. No external force has the authority to define what makes your life meaningful. Happiness is not a destination waiting at the end of a long checklist. It is woven directly into the steps you take every single day. At the end of the day, you are the only one who has to live with your choices. The friction holding you back is an illusion created by your own mind. So go ahead, just start.